The reckless love of God. A month and a half ago, when God gave me the sermon series, I thought I was going to preach the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians 13. But God has been hitting me all week, trying to show me something in this chapter that I've never seen before. And I battled with it, struggled with it, and I wrestled with God with it. I was coming back to Gunnersville yesterday, and I stopped at a stop sign, a red light in Crossville. I pulled out my phone and I said, God, I know this scripture. Guys, we know this scripture. And I said, what do you want me to give the church? What do I need to see that I'm not seeing? And I read the first 3 verses, and God said, this is the key to all of it. Never seen it before in my life. So this morning we're going to read the first 3 verses instead of the whole chapter. And this message completely took a different turn for me. Earlier in the week I had a conversation about, I don't even remember who it was with. It was about the rich young ruler. He come to Jesus and he said, what must I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Jesus said, sell everything you've got, give it to the poor, take up your cross, come and follow me. It said the rich young ruler walked away very sad. That has just pondered and resonated in the back of my mind. And then on the way through Crossville yesterday, I was at a red light. I was not driving and reading the Bible or texting. Paul said this, and I'm going to read this slow because sometimes we need to. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, and I have not love, I am becoming a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and I understand all mysteries, and I have all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all of my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. As I pondered over these scriptures, I know this is a scripture of love. This whole chapter is about what true love is really about. And Stephen said it on stage a while ago that God is love. So if God is love, and though we're able to do all of these things, and we don't have love, you see, that means we don't have God. Though I give my body to be burned, though I have the tongue of men and angels, though I can speak the most eloquently of all people on the face of this planet, though I have all knowledge and all wisdom and all understanding, that I might be able to understand, be able to prophesy, though I might be able to do all of these things, and I have not love, he said, I'm just making noise, useless noise. I was talking to some grandparents yesterday, and they were telling me, he said, well, what do you think about your grandkid? Y'all going to hear about it, just deal with it. And I said, oh, well, you know, we love him. And they said, yeah, they said when our grandson turned 5, we bought him a set of drums to go in his house. Said when he turned 8, we bought him an electric guitar with an amplifier to go in his house. He said, then they said all these, we bought him a stereo system with surround sound speakers to go in his bedroom. and said, our son come to us and said, Dad, you're killing us. And he goes, welcome to my world. He said, I just want you to have everything. I want him to have everything that you had growing up. And I want you to experience everything that we experienced while you were growing up. And so we know money's tight, so we just want to make sure and help y'all get all the things that he needs. I thought this morning that as we look at Paul's writing in Corinthians, we know about sacrifice. We know what it is when the offering plate comes around to give money that some of us could really use. We have people that has their tithes automatically taken out of their checking account and paid. We have people that go online and pay it online, and I've done that a couple of times, but I don't like it. I like writing a check. Because when I write that check, it's not on tithing, but when I write that check and I look at my bank account, I pull it up on my phone and do my thumbprint, and I know what's in my checking account, and I look at that check, it hurts. Amen? It hurts. It's supposed to hurt. Because we're sacrificing something that we could go, I could use it to go on vacation. We could use it for a new toy to go in our shop. We could use it for a lot of different things. I like writing that check because when I willfully write the check and I willfully, on my own accord, put it in that basket, I'm not just giving money. I'm giving something of myself that hurts me to the very core, that I could do a lot of things to bring a lot of joy to me at, but I like putting that check in there because if they take it out before, and I'm not against that, but if they take it out before, I don't feel the pain. I want to feel the pain. Because I think God on the cross had the ability that He probably could have stopped the pain and not felt it, but He wanted to feel it. He wanted to feel the betrayal of His friends. He wanted to feel the lying of the people that come to Him. He wanted to feel the nails in His hand, because what He was putting to death it was about our sin, but He was putting Himself to death. And I think as God began to show me the Scripture, Paul keyed in on something that was so beautiful here, that as a pastor for 20-something years, pastoring and preaching, I've never seen before. And we're going to read this Scripture all over again. Corinthians 13, verse 1. And I want you to pick the word out in here that I've never seen before. Though you see it? Though I speak with tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. I thought this morning that there was a young man that come to my house, and we were having a conversation, and I started talking, stuff started coming out of my mouth that was blowing my mind, and it really was blowing his mind. And I had given him the key to my house. And he looked at me and he said, "Aren't you afraid that I might steal something? Aren't you afraid that I might take something? Why do you trust me?" And I looked at him and I said, "Because I don't own anything." He said, what do you mean you don't own anything? Is this not your house? I said, nope. And I give him the keys to my shop, and he said, well, I could just clear it out, and there's nothing that you could do about it. And he said, I don't even think the law would even come get me because you gave me the key. And I said, it ain't my shop. It's not my stuff. You see, the Bible says that perfect love casteth out all fear, right? But yet we as Christians, so many times, we live in fear. We live in fear of dying. We live in fear of somebody stealing something from us. We live in fear of not having the money. We live in fear of God not hearing our prayers. We live in fear of so many different things. And Paul is beating down a door in these first 3 verses. He said, though I speak with tongues and men and angels, and I have not charity, he said, I'm a tinkling cymbal and sounding brass. He said, I'm just making noise. Because Paul honed in on something that is so hard for me to grasp. Paul said this. He said, if I'm not speaking for God, then what use is it? He said, if I'm not giving my body to be burned, if I'm not understanding all prophecies and all knowledge and having all faith that I could remove a mountain, he said, if I'm not doing it for God, then he said, I've got no profit. It don't profit me at all. And Paul's honing in on something that is one of the hardest concepts for the church to understand. It's something I've struggled with for 20-something years, is the last thing to give up. Do I believe in Jesus Christ? You absolutely believe it. Do I believe that He died on the cross for my sins? Perfect. Yes, I do. Do I believe that He was resurrected the 3rd day? Yes. Do I believe that He was God in flesh, as John says, He put on flesh and come down and dwell? Yes, I do. Do I believe that He was born of a Virgin Mary? Yes, I do. Do I believe that I'm saved? Yes, I do. Do I believe that God is in the process of sanctifying me? Yes, I do. But the problem that I have, did you hear the I? The problem that I have is, even though Christ is crucified, I don't want to be. Did you catch that? Though I speak with tongues and men and angels, and I have not God, just making noise. I don't want to be crucified. The Bible teaches us that those that gain their life will lose it, and those that lose their life will gain it. As I visit around in my community, and the first time I went, I took my gun with me because I was scared to death. The second time I went, I didn't take it. And now I've got people calling me by name. You see, you can't take my life because I've already given it away. Hello? You can't take my joy because I've already given my joy. My joy comes from Christ. It doesn't come from the things of this world. You can't take my happiness, though my new grandson brings me happiness, even with pink lotion on him. Patsy says, smell of him. You can't kill my grandson and take my joy or my happiness away, because my grandson came from God, and at some point in time he's going back to God, and in the process he belongs to God all the way through it, because every breath that goes in and out of his lungs is a gift from God. So you can't scare me with that. You can't steal the stuff that I got, because everything I've got, I've given it to God. I've given my marriage to God. I've given my family to God. I've given my home to God. I've given my tools to God. I've given my truck to God. I've given my car to God. I've given my dog to God. I've given everything I've got to God. So I is no longer part of the equation, because I died a long time ago, but I still try to resurrect myself from time to time. And Paul says it's all vanity. How are you going to hurt a dead man? How are you going to hurt him? You going to kick him? Brother Mark, I'll tell a lie about you. Tell it. I'm dead anyway. Brother Mark, I don't understand this. You know what? I don't either. We're coming up on Easter, and the disciples, as they sat around that table, and Jesus said, "Take, this is my body, which is broken for you." And the disciples were about to lose their minds. I got news for you, Gunnersville. I'm not here because you pay me to be here. If you quit paying me, I'll find a job and I'll continue to pastor this church, because it ain't the money the reason I'm here anyway. It's because God has sent me here is the reason I'm here. And the reason I'm preaching is because God has already called me to do that. And the reason I'm saved is because God has called me out of this lost and dying world. So what can you take from me that I haven't already to give? And when we realize that this morning, that if you want my happiness, you're going to have to go through God to get it. If you want my joy, you're going to have to go through God to get it. If you want my life, he said, don't fear the one that can destroy the body. He said, but fear the one that can destroy both body and soul in hell. If you want my wife, you're going to have to go through God to get her. If you want my grandkids, you're going to have to go through God to get her. If you want my little saws and my drills and stuff, you're going to have to throw through God to get her. But if you want my house, you say, well, Brother Mark, I can throw a cocktail in there and set it on fire. I'm telling you, God can build one quicker than that one will burn down. Woo! I'd be just as happy if there was 10 people in this room as there was 400, because I ain't preaching for y'all. I'm preaching because God called me to. And if I don't preach in here, I'll be preaching on the street corner somewhere. If I'm not preaching there, I'll be preaching wherever God sends me. I thought this morning that though I have all of these abilities of knowledge and wisdom, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love. Mother Teresa left a very wealthy lifestyle and went to an AIDS-infested region of the world. And she sat there and she held babies and fed babies that were eat up with AIDS. And she watched them and she held them as they died in her arms. And she would pull them close to her bosom and she would pray over them. And they would go out and they would bury that child. And she would come back in and they would give her another child. And she would hold that baby to feel the warmth of her. Mother Teresa had something that very few people understand. Mother Teresa didn't like clothes. She wore them. But if you do some research on her, she wore very thin shirts because she wanted the babies to feel the heat from her body. She could have lived in an ivory tower somewhere. She could have drove the nicest car. She could have let somebody else drove her. But she gave every bit of that away that she could hold AIDS-infested babies that their own mamas had thrown them in the garbage dump. And she would go and pick them up and nourish them and love on them. And I thought this morning that we hold her in high esteem. But it wasn't her that was doing it. Because she had died out to Christ a long time ago. She didn't care about her comfort. And I thought that over the 21 years that I pastored, I've heard about music being too loud. I've heard about lights not being bright enough. I've heard about it being too bright. I've heard it's too hot. I've heard it's too cold. I've preached where the average age was 70-something years old and it was 85 in the church, and I'd just be soaking wet when I got through preaching. But I wasn't there not to be comfortable. I was there because God placed me there. I was there to bring glory and honor to God. And I thought this morning that church, it doesn't matter that we're in a Methodist church. It doesn't matter that this used to be a grocery store. It doesn't matter if the lights work or the band messes up. What it matters this morning is we've come together at 8:30 in the morning to lay ourselves on the altar and pour ourselves out unto God and say, God, here am I. Use me. But there's no more greater peace than that. That though I don't have a lot of money to give, and though I have a lot of education, I'm still just a dumb redneck. And that's what I will die, a dumb redneck. Though my language, sometimes you'll get a ain't and a can't and this, that, and the other. But you see, it's where the devil torments us. The rich young ruler said, what can I give? What can I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Why do you think God asked him for the one thing? What if he would have said, you know, if you make a $1,000 donation to the church, you can go to heaven? He would have broke his arm. But you see, that wasn't a sacrifice. God don't want a quarter of us. He doesn't want half of us. 3/4 of us. He doesn't want 99% of us. He wants all of us. So this morning, I want you to look at that scripture very differently. Though I gain the whole world and lose my soul, where's the profit? I've got one life on this earth to live. And if I live to November, I'll be 51. I'm going to enjoy every day of it. And I'm going to walk humbly with my God. And I'm going to mess up. But he said when you mess up, he said you got an advocate with the Father. I don't have time to be jealous. I don't have time to be angry. I don't have time to be hurt. And I don't have time to be hot or cold. Because dead men don't get hot and they don't get cold. Let me encourage you something this morning. You'll never be truly happy until you give it all away. You say, Brother Mark, I got to give my house away. No, you can still live in your house. But as long as it's yours, you'll always worry about it. If you'll give it to God, you don't have to worry about it. So many times I prayed for God. I wanted a beautiful wife. I wanted a happy marriage. I wanted a good home. I wanted good kids. I wanted, I'll never forget, and I may have told y'all this, but it don't matter. With my oldest daughter, I prayed. I said, God, I want a boy. And then I said, God, later on, I said, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, as long as it's healthy. Then I come down to this. God, I don't care if it's healthy. Give me what you want me to have. I'd rather have a Down syndrome kid or something wrong with a child and 100 souls be saved by that child than I had to have a perfect child and 100 people die and go to hell. Father, put me where you want me to live. Feed me with what you want me to eat. God, you give me a wife. I can't pick out one. So I ask you this morning, this is hard. I love it when we get quiet because I know that's either bad preaching. And if you ain't heard that, just keep coming back. Or I know it's getting close to home. Church, we will lay everything on the altar. But the hardest thing for me to leave there is me. It's hard to leave me there. Because I got ideas. I got dreams. So if you need something and I got it, come get it. I gave away some very good stuff 2 weeks ago. And God gave me better stuff than what I had and gave me more of it. How you going to outgive God? So now, when the offering plate, and this ain't about offering, but when the offering plate, I count it joy because it's one of the very few things I can even give God. What can you give God but ourselves? Where's the band at? I don't hear them mumbling this morning. Listen. I don't hear them scurrying. Oh, there they are. And here's what I want to do. I don't know what you got on the screen, and I don't know what you got planned. You're the only one up here. Can you sing that song again? Stephen, can we sing that song again? Yes. But I want to do it differently. As we stand this morning, I want you to ask yourself a question as we sing this, as they scurry around. I'm sorry, guys. Has God asked you to give more than He's willing to give for you? Listen to this song and hear what Christ says in it. If you need to pray, come pray. If you need to shout, shout. If you need to hug somebody, might want to talk to the husband first, but hug them. Because one of these days we're going to roll you out of here in a metal box and you can't hug anybody anymore. You won't tell anybody you love them. So, give yourself away the way Christ gave Himself away.